Hey guys, welcome to yet another 30-day myofascial release challenge video. I'm Naudi Aguilar and I'll be showing you guys yet another myofascial release technique that will help you with hip mobility, will help you just in general balance your body out. As a mechanism of us getting this release, you should hopefully get more rotation in your thoracic spine, even though we're not really particularly focusing specifically on the thoracic spine. As you guys know, I am pretty big on rotational movement. You guys have seen it probably all over my YouTube channel. If there's one thing that's common with people is that they are pretty incompetent in that realm of training, just simply because the fitness industry doesn't provide it very often, and you don't see a lot of trainers doing that type of movement. So what I want you guys to consider is that anytime you're lacking rotation in the upper body, your body has to create rotation in other areas of the body. So if, let's say, I don't rotate enough here, or I rotate too much here, the body is going to then turn that emptiness of that rotation into and expedite it somewhere else on the body. So in certain cases, you'll find that people end up having a crazy external tibial rotation. When they stand, their tibia will rotate outward. That's just their shin bone doing that. In the case that we're concerned with most right now, it's going to be our femur. So whenever my thoracic spine doesn't rotate, usually it's my femur that's going to do some kind of rotation. And there's going to come a point during your gait cycle that when your foot lands, you're going to notice this shock wave that runs up the side of your thigh, and it usually ends up landing right here on the anterior portions at about a 45-degree angle on your thigh. So we're going to be aiming at about right here when we're going out going to pinpoint this muscle. The tensor fasciolata is just above that, maybe about 3-4 inches. We're going to be going down just beneath that. Okay, so the myofascial release point that we're going to be hitting will be right at that area, at that 45-degree angle. I'm going to be laying down. Now, this is not the tensor fasciolata release that you guys have seen all the time, that you guys have probably seen on the book, The Power of Posture. The tensor fasciolata release is going to have your body positioning looking like this, where your leg is completely flat to the ground. Although that's a great technique to do, we're not aiming to do that technique, and it's going to be very important that you guys follow specifically what I'm trying to tell you right here. Otherwise, you will not pinpoint this release down very well. I want the side of your hip bone to touch the floor here. Okay, so that side of the hip bone is going to touch the floor, and then your leg is actually going to elevate off the ground. You're then going to rotate your hips down. The left side of your hips is going to come down to the floor, almost to where the hips are at about a 45-degree angle from the floor. Then from there, you just let the weight of the leg drop on top of that myofascial release, or on that trigger point. You can move your leg back around. You can rotate it a little bit if you want to. Just try pinpointing the sorest point. This should be one spot that doesn't take very much. Some of you might begin to report the sensation of shaking in the muscle. It's because we are attacking one of the biggest anchors on the body. This is where the IT band distortions happen. As you guys have heard me talk about with the IT band, it is a muscle that tends to get really tight on people, and it actually does shorten. Some people will say, well, you can't lengthen your IT band. If you want to change the way your femurs function and the way your tibias function in relation to one another, your IT band at some point will have to lengthen. Now, how do you go about lengthening your IT band? It's very complicated, but the first thing that you have to do is change the way that you move. If you change the way that you move, that's going to reprogram the way that your IT band will function as a whole, because your body will then no longer be able to depend on it. If your anterior oblique sling works better, the odds are your IT band won't take as much of that beating, and the anterior 45, which is kind of a part of that IT band structure, that area will no longer have to compensate. Within time, the IT band will kind of atrophy. That atrophy will then lead to hopefully a lengthening within time, and then your tibias and your shin bone, your tibias and your femurs will actually begin to get more aligned. So for those of you that have like a knee valgus or something like that, it's especially important to get that length out of that IT band. This release is going to be one of those first releases that you're going to attack. That's going to kind of rewire and reprogram the way that you move, and that should lead to a pretty cataclysmic change later on that will reflect into a better movement and a change in not only your myofascial structure, but hopefully 10 years down the road, you'll actually notice a bone structure change with those new inputs of information being sent to your brain. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video to be useful. Again, right here, anterior 45. We're going right here. Keep that leg elevated, and I will see you guys very soon. Take care.